clicked on this video because you're probably dealing with a recurring situation in your life, whether it's personal or professional, where you are looping through the same patterns, whether it's your thoughts, your beliefs, or your behaviors, where you're unable to step out of that recurring process to achieve the results of success that you're looking for. Maybe you're striving to get your next promotion at workplace, or that you're a business owner that is looking to achieve the next level of success in your business financially. But you are aware that something seems to be blocking you from within. In this video, I am going to introduce you to two aspects of your mind and their functions in reprogramming, reveal 4 pillars that play an important role in the process of reprogramming your mind, and last but not the least, share different pathways through which you can approach this process of reprogramming your mind. Make sure you stay till the end, because you will be given access to the very tools that can help you with this reprogramming process of your mind. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon to be notified every time I post a new video that can help you develop as a leader, both personally and professionally, inside out. Hi, my name is Ajitha, and welcome to my YouTube channel. With over 20 plus years of technology experience as an executive leader and now a certified holistic full spectrum leadership coach and strategist, I have helped, trained, coached, and mentored thousands of professionals and entrepreneurs in their leadership journey to become the epic leaders that they were born to be. I am excited to be sharing all that I have experienced and my knowledge and my wisdom through this channel as a guide to any of you that are looking to be navigating this leadership journey, so I can help you get out of your own way to become the epic leaders you were born to be. Everything that I'm sharing in this video is something that I have learned, practiced, and embodied in my 2-decade-long professional journey, as well as over a decade-long personal development journey that I have been on. So this is not just theory, this is lived embodied wisdom that you're receiving from me. You see, over the last decade, I have gone through a series of life-changing events, including separation, divorce, loss of a home, loss of my job, loss of both my parents, while navigating all of these changes, bringing up 2 children. And all of this was happening in the midst of me leading some major digital transformations in the organization that I was a part of before I stepped out of my full-time job. So I'm very, very familiar with how we as leaders navigate changes in our lives, whether it is personal or professional, and the interoperability and the inter-impact that these things have upon us as individuals and as leaders. All these changes that I have been through became the doorway through which I was awakened into my leadership potential, and my real deep hope and sincere expectation from those listening to any of the videos in my channel is that you get to use everything that I'm sharing with you as a doorway to your freedom, to your leadership, and to your potential. What I'm sharing with you in this video is my lived experience synthesis of how our inner operating system functions and how it can derail us from the very things that we think we desire to have on a conscious level, and how this becomes a barrier for us to not being able to unleash our full leadership potential. So if you are someone who's listening to this video and is deeply aware that you're meant for something more, that you're here to make a difference, that you're here to have an impact, and you're stuck in a place where you feel unable to, or it looks impossible for you to be able to live that potential, this video is definitely going to make an impact for you. I can guarantee you that. Everything that I'm sharing in this video, the model, the framework, is something that I've created over the last decade of my journey, putting all the pieces of the puzzle together through the very various number of books I have read, the very experience that I have lived through, applying the things that I have learned, I've gotten certified in. So what you're receiving is hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of not just knowledge and information, but embodied wisdom that I have applied. I've seen the results, not just for me, but for thousands of the clients that I've worked with. And that's what I'm bringing through in this particular video for you. So let's begin with introducing you to the 2 aspects of your mind. Number 1, the conscious mind, and number 2, the subconscious mind. You probably have heard these terms already. So let's make sure that we are all on the same page when we are talking about these 2 aspects of our mind. The conscious mind, this is your analytical, logical, thinking mind that is rational, that needs a reason to do something or to take an action or to make a decision. right? This is the data-driven part of us that's asking for facts, that's asking for logical linear thinking process to arrive at a particular place where you know that you're making decisions based on data, reason, analysis, and logic. And the beautiful aspect about our conscious mind is that it is very useful for us in our day-to-day lives. Otherwise, we wouldn't be so data-driven and so fact-driven in our lives. But unfortunately, it only governs 7% of what we experience as our reality. What do you mean by that? I can hear some of you yell like, what do you mean? I use my logic all the time. I use data all the time. You're telling me that that's only 7% impact in my entire leadership journey? And unfortunately, that's the reality. That's the truth. And this is proven. And then you ask, okay, what happened to the 93%? That's where the subconscious mind comes in. Your subconscious mind, which I call the inner operating system, right, is what runs the show 93% of our time. Okay, 93% of the time, our subconscious mind is running the show for us. So what does that mean? Let me explain this from a human perspective, and I'm going to draw an analogy to computers. All of us are using computers. We are all in the AI age. We have come past the internet age, digital age. Everybody has a device today. So I'm going to definitely explain it in a more practical sense to draw a metaphor or analogy to help you understand it better. Your subconscious mind is where all the operating system programs are stored right from our birth. Okay. So for example, right now, as you're listening to me speak in this video, you are not telling your body to breathe. You're not saying, okay, let me pause. Let me make sure I'm breathing. Body, breathe. You're not saying that. It's naturally occurring as a process in the backdrop, isn't it? Similarly, you're not telling your body to digest the food that you have eaten this morning, this afternoon, or tonight, whatever time zone you're in watching this video at the moment. It's happening automatically. So where is all that intelligence stored? It's in your subconscious mind. This is where all the programs, which we call the autonomous programs that are running us as human beings, are stored in our inner subconscious operating system. So that's a very direct example of how we use our conscious mind. The way I'm thinking, I'm focusing, I'm analyzing, I'm adding, I'm subtracting, I'm connecting the cause and effect. I'm saying this happened, this must be the result, right? That's the conscious part of our mind. That's about 7% of our capacity. The 93% that is not visible is where our subconscious mind, which is operating our entire human operating system from within. And that's a huge part that we are unaware of, that we most often take for granted. Think about it. When was the last time you ever thought about, I need to tell my body what to do? No, that is even walking. You're not saying, okay, body, let's walk now. No, we're not telling our body to any of these things. It automatically does it. And that comes from our subconscious mind. Okay, now let's draw an analogy to the computers that we're all familiar with. I'm pretty sure you're watching this video on a device, whether it's a phone or a desktop or an iPad, right? So it is that particular system or the device is operating on some software. Okay, that's the operating system. If you're watching this on a desktop, it's running on Windows operating system. If you're watching this on iPad or an Apple phone, it's running on iOS. Mac, if it's a Mac laptop, then it's a Mac OS, right? You get the point. This system that is running your desktop, for example, the Windows system, this is running from the time you started using this device, right? Similarly, our body, ever since we have come into existence, it is functioning right from the moment of conception to the evolution of growth of us as a baby. The subconscious operating system is functioning. It's constantly functioning, doing what it needs to do. Similarly, our Windows operating system is operating in the backdrop, which is allowing us to use the applications like YouTube or browser or Windows, Office 365, right? These are all applications on top of an operating system. Now, here's the beauty. We are so good. Like you can literally contemplate on this right now. When was the last time you added an additional application onto your device? If it's a phone, when was the last time you downloaded an app from an Android store or an iPhone store? Almost on a weekly basis, if not on a monthly basis, we are constantly downloading apps onto our devices. Yes? And that is us taking care of the functioning. Okay, the device comes automatically with an OS, but what makes it useful for you is the overlaying applications that you're using for different purposes, like a browser or a YouTube app to listen to this video that you're listening to. Now, here is the thing. beautifully, our devices get upgraded automatically. You reflect on this question. When was the last time you had to update your iOS or your Windows OS or your Mac OS? Whenever the system prompted, it said, look, you're out of date. You got to update your operating system. And we make sure we do it, because why? Otherwise, the applications that are sitting on top of that operating system won't function, right? Now that you understand, okay, the way I'm drawing parallel is this. The Windows OS, the Mac OS, the iOS is essentially equivalent to our subconscious mind, okay? And the applications that are sitting on top of the device on that operating system is essentially your conscious mind. I'll say this again. The Windows OS or the Mac OS or the iOS is equivalent to our subconscious mind, and the applications that are sitting on top of that particular device on that operating system is equivalent to our conscious mind. We are so beautifully diligent and disciplined in updating our what? Inner operating system, aka your Windows, Mac, or iOS, because it prompts you and you're forced to upgrade it. Thereby, you can use the applications on top of that operating system. My question to you, again, a lot of questions coming your way, but for contemplation, for rightful reasons, is when was the last time you ever upgraded your subconscious mind? Yes, I just told you, it is a system that automatically operates, right? It automatically knows to digest your food, to breathe, to excrete, and so on. And here is the gap, right? The gap is we are programmed to upgrade our conscious mind, but rarely our subconscious mind. So if you're listening to this video, if you're a professional or an entrepreneur, you have likely invested in a training program, in a certification program, in something that would increase and improve your skills. Without a question, especially in today's technology age, a lot of people that I know are investing in learning AI tools. They are even investing in learning leadership, how to lead people, right? You're constantly learning skills. And that, my friends, is directly mapping to the conscious operating system, aka your conscious mind. You're learning what to do, right? You're learning what to do through these trainings, which is again focused on the applications. You're using those trainings, those certifications, and the consumption of even this YouTube channel and the YouTube consumption that you're doing is all adding to your conscious mind. There is very little that we do as human beings that consciously invests in upgrading our subconscious mind, aka your inner operating system as a human. Okay, this is so important for me to bring into awareness for you, because this is where most of us end up thinking, hey, I have invested in training. I hear this from a lot of my prospects and my clients, and I'm saying this with a lot of love and compassion, right? We think investing in certifications, trainings, and degrees and mainstream education is really the way to upgrade ourselves. Well, it does. It upgrades the 7% of our conscious mind, but not necessarily the 93%. Okay, so I wanted to make sure that this segment, the first segment, you have this clear distinction of conscious mind and subconscious mind. Here is the other thing that people end up getting confused with that I want to demystify. We're talking about mind and not brains. They're not the same, okay? I see a lot of people referencing reprogramming the brain. In all honesty, the mind is what we're looking at, and mind is not limited to our physical brain. This is why when we talk about subconscious mind, there is more of what that involves than just the physical brain that we are thinking about or equating it to, okay? Here is the thing, our conscious mind and our subconscious mind are present in our entire being, i.e. in our body, in every organ, in the cells. It is programmed into our cells to know how to interact with different organs, the whole system. We have digestive system, circulatory system, respiratory system, nervous system. Each system is programmed to do its function, right? So it's not all just sitting in a physical brain. There is cells, the awareness of how to interoperate as a human operating system or a leader's operating system is within every part of our being, okay, including our body, which is why it's not limited to just the brain. This subconscious mind is essentially a bunch of preloaded software programs that we are born with as human beings. Here is the other element to clarify is based on our life experiences, we add more programs to our subconscious mind, which I call the inner operating system, because as we are born, we have pre-programmed functions of our body that is already existent. And then we keep adding to those list of programs through our life experiences. And what's important is that from the age of 4 to 7 is where our brain is going through physical change, right? We are growing as a human, and our mind is also developing. So our conscious mind is not fully developed. According to science, our conscious mind is not fully developed until we reach the age of 7. So anything that we have absorbed in this very early phase of our journey as a leader, as a human, we tend to take it to be part of our subconscious program. So a lot of times when I work with clients, this is where we go into in terms of how to reprogram. There are programs sitting in their leadership operating system deep in their subconscious that were formed very early on in their childhood, because they were so susceptible, because the conscious mind, which is the yes no mind, it is where you decide. It's a logical place where we are saying, yes, I accept it, or no, I don't accept it, right? We have that distinction that we get to make at the logical level based on the conscious mind's development. But since it's not fully formed until the age of 7, everything that we are exposed to automatically gets into our subconscious to be a program, aka a belief that is true for us. And that ends up influencing us throughout the rest of our lives. So this is why a lot of us that have done a lot of work with certifications or trainings and so on, or even getting educated on how to run your business and so on, still don't seem to have an external impact, is because while you have upgraded your conscious 7% mind, your 93% subconscious mind is still sitting with the programs that you probably have intaken in the ages of between 4 and 7, or even earlier than that. So this is why it's important to understand the two aspects of the mind, because when we talk about reprogramming, if you don't understand these two elements, you can tend to simplify it, or tend to not fully understand or grasp the extent to which this work is going to entail that shift that you're desiring. Your subconscious mind processes billions of data per second and will only relay the information to the conscious mind that which it decides to be important based on your belief system. This is another important interaction between conscious and subconscious mind. Okay, so there are two parts or two aspects of the mind that you're now familiar with. Now let's talk about how they interact with each other, because that's a very critical aspect for you to understand before we get into the process of reprogramming. Your subconscious mind, it processes billions of data per second. And so it is only going to pass the information that it believes is going to be pertinent to the conscious mind. Now, how does it determine what is pertinent? It's based on the programs. Your programs, your beliefs are the filters through which your subconscious mind decides what is important for your conscious mind to become aware of. Now, do you see the power of this awareness? That you, as much as you think you have figured it all out from a conscious mind perspective, you've got a very heavy operating system that is filtering what you even consciously think about, right? It's the filter layer that's saying, I'm processing all of this and I'm going to filter what is relevant for the conscious mind to focus on based on the beliefs that this person's program, this person is holding in their inner operating system, which is your subconscious mind. So your beliefs are essentially, or your programs are essentially how are the filters through which you perceive your world. So if you don't address that layer, it's going to be so hard for us to be able to achieve the external success that we are looking for. If your programs or beliefs are shrouded or limited, no matter what action you may take, the results are going to be limited. Same as the programs in your operating system limits what you can do with your computer, right? If your operating system hasn't gotten upgraded, you can't add new apps onto it. Simple as that. So every time you upgrade a computer operating system, what you're essentially doing is bringing new programs that allow for you to use this new application. Similarly, in the case of reprogramming your mind, we're really talking about the 93% subconscious mind related reprogramming that will allow for you to bring the conscious mind to take steps or make decisions or take actions that are in alignment to bring those results forward. So adding more apps, aka adding more knowledge, more certifications, more courses, or even consuming a lot of endless YouTube videos is really not going to help you, because you're adding to your conscious mind and your subconscious mind hasn't gotten updated, right? It needs new programs. And what happens when you overload your system with more conscious mind information is it actually slows you down instead of speeding you up in the process of gaining your results. This is why, this is my favorite pet peeve statement I'm going to make right now, is that this is why hustling and taking action alone as an approach has led to more burnout than results. So if you're one of those people that have done everything you can physically, manually possible as a leader to bring results into foray into your organization, into your business, then please know this is the reason. Because hustle and action alone is not going to help you with shifting stuff in your deep in your subconscious mind. It is in your operating system. It requires way more than that. Okay. So now that we talk about way more than that, let's figure out what that way more than just hustle and action might be, right? This is where I'm going to part two or step two, revealing the 4 pillars that are involved in reprogramming your mind and how they interoperate. This is going to be so important for you to understand. Now, to know how to reprogram your mind, you have to look at your subconscious mind as 4 different pillars. Now, I call these words pillars in a loose fashion. What it essentially is that there are 4 parts, or let's use the word pillars for now, but they are not standing like, vertical pillars like a typical pillars do. They actually interact with one another. You touch any one of these aspects. I don't want to use the word aspects. Let me just use the word pillars to be consistent. You touch any one of these pillars, then you are going to have an impact on the others. Okay, they are interrelated. And this is the framework that I have developed. It's a proprietary framework that I've developed based on my decade-long personal development journey. And the framework essentially is, I call this the EPIC Leadership Operating System Framework. Okay, it's long, it's a mouthful, but bear with me. What does EPIC in EPIC Leadership Operating System Framework stand for? The E stands for the emotional operating system. P stands for the physical operating system. I stands for the intellectual operating system, and C stands for the consciousness operating system. Your subconscious programs are stored as emotions, beliefs, thoughts, and identity. Okay, it could be any of these variations. And this then gets reflected in your physical body, which is the final manifestation of the impacts or interrelationship of these different operating systems. So you have the emotions under the emotional operating system, you have the thoughts and beliefs under the intellectual operating system, and you have the identity under the consciousness operating system. All of these in a composite way reflects in your physical reality, including your physical body. Okay. Whenever I work with my clients and we are dealing with something as a physical challenge that they're experiencing in their leadership journey, a part of their body part starts to speak loudly with some dis-ease in the process, I always tell them, okay, something is really garnering your attention because you have not paid attention to it at the emotional, intellectual, or the identity level. And now it's speaking super loudly to you because the only way, I've learned this the hard way. The only way we as human beings really pay attention to what our subconscious is trying to tell us is when it starts to speak really loudly with something going on in our reality externally that we can perceive. Externally meaning something goes wrong in our job, in our relationships, or in our money, or in something outside, or our body, or health, right? These are ways by which our subconscious is calling attention to say, hey, you have not been paying attention to me. I've been talking to you through emotions. You've suppressed them. I've been giving you these thoughts. You've discarded them. I've been, loudly calling you out on the identity that you're limitedly holding on to. You've not paid attention. So here you go. Pay attention to me now because here it is. You can't ignore it. And this, you can't ignore me, comes in the form of a job loss, a divorce, a loss of a loved one, or a loss of some form, right? Including health, loss of health. Loss is the trigger more often than not in the physical reality that kicks us into saying, okay, what's going on? What do I need to pay attention to? Okay. And my humble expectation from anyone watching this video is please do not wait until your physical reality starts to give you loud messages. You can start to work on what needs to change for you right with this EPIC leadership operating system framework by focusing on emotions, in your beliefs and thoughts, and your identity, so that you're able to see the physical reality shift. Okay, so that's basically an introduction to the framework itself. I just want to go briefly into each one of these pillars to give you a deeper idea, and then we'll go right into talking about the steps to reprogram. So Let's talk about the emotional operating system. Unprocessed, repressed, or suppressed, or even expressed emotions are basically addressed within this operating system. Now, here is the thing. We as a species, as a society, we do not really honor and value vulnerability and emotional exchanges in terms of expressions. We tend to name them as something bad. We shame others, or we feel shame when we end up expressing emotions in front of people that we didn't want to or didn't expect to. Okay, so traditionally we are not allowed. It feels unsafe is the best way to put it. It feels unsafe for us to express our emotions for fear of being judged. So we are masters, I would say, we are masters of suppressing or repressing our emotions, and that's been going on for a very long time. But we are now at a place in our collective journey as human beings, especially with the advent of AI and the presence of AI, we're really being asked to pay attention to our emotions and start to learn a healthy way to process them. That's the key word, healthy way, because we have seen when there is repressed emotions, we end up in angry outbursts, or we end up taking it out on other people or taking it out on other things around us, right? That is unhealthy expression. And on the flip side, on the other spectrum, we don't express at all, which means we're like shoving it down our throat and holding it in our system. And it starts to bother us after it starts to kind of bubble up, bubble up, bubble up. And then suddenly one small thing, like somebody cuts you in the traffic, and then you're like a volcano bursting out, right? Why do these things happen? Is because we have not been taught a healthy way to identify our emotions and have a healthy way to release them from our system. Okay, so the emotional operating system is where you start to become what people call emotionally intelligent, emotionally aware, highly self-aware of what's going on for you, so that you're able to name it and release it in a healthy way and replace it with something more healthier. Okay, so that's our emotional operating system. Now let's go to the second, which I'm going to skip the physical for a moment because, as I said, it's the last step in the process. So I'm going to go to intellectual. Any beliefs and thoughts that are both empowering and disempowering that we may be holding as true for us is in our intellectual operating system. So, for example, if I grew up in an environment where money was always a challenge. Okay, I can actually speak about this for not only for myself but also for some of the clients I've worked with. Right, we are amazingly successful as leaders. Like I was a multi-six-figure senior executive leader in corporate America, and most of my clients are also very, very well-to-do in terms of finances. However, the growing up stage didn't happen where there was a lot of affluent wealth or prosperity. So in growing up in those environments, there is an unsaid belief that money it doesn't grow on trees. Although paper is made from trees, it still is a belief that people held on to, right? Money doesn't grow on trees, which means, oh, you got to be really careful. It's a scarcity mentality that was so prevalent in the ecosystem of the environment that I or many of my clients have grown up in. And that is part of now, it's definitely part of my operating system, right? I have it, although not consciously. It's simply because I've just heard my parents talk about how difficult it is to make money or how much they had to struggle to make money. It is part of my intellectual operating system deep within my subconscious. Okay, so that is an example of beliefs or thoughts that we are holding to be true for ourselves. Okay, it may be not true for somebody else, but it's true for us. Okay, that happens to be sitting in our intellectual operating system. And that could be empowering or disempowering, right? There are different impacts these programs may have on us. And it's up to us to understand, is it empowering me or is it limiting me? Okay, so that's where the work relating to intellectual operating system stays. And then last but not the least, before I go to physical operating system, is the consciousness operating system. So the consciousness operating system is basically also a belief, but it's a very specific type of belief, which is who I believe I am. Okay, who am I? So many of us have identities that are actually limiting us more than we know. Here, typically, our consciousness OS is where our identity statements, beliefs are stored. And they go usually in the form of I am, fill in the blanks. Okay, so I am an executive coach. I am a leadership strategist. I am a mother. I am fill in the blanks, right? So all of these I am statements are essentially where our consciousness OS is operating from. And this also happens to be the place where we are able to see the identity manifesting externally in our life as behavior patterns. Okay. One of the best things that have happened to me is when I understood that my identity as a leader drives how I show up externally in terms of what are the loops and patterns I'm dealing with. This has been the biggest gift for me is, okay, I see this pattern where every time when every time I send a message to somebody, I'm immediately looking for a response. If somebody doesn't respond to me within a particular period of time, my emotional operating system gets kicked in. It's like it's a trigger for me, right? My identity is I am someone important that you better respond to me immediately. Okay, whatever that equivalent is in a short form, you get the gist, right? So this I am statements are so powerful because they are what creates our recurring patterns in our life that we are finding so hard to break out of. Okay, so that's your consciousness OS. Now, a composite of all of these three, emotional, intellectual, and consciousness, is what manifests into our physical operating system. And it may be the capacity of our nervous system to handle the change that we are so much striving and desiring for. For example, even though you are probably so desirous of that big promotion, the VP level, the SVP level, or the director level, the managing director level, whatever that promotion is for you, or as an entrepreneur, you're looking to achieve that next six-figure breakthrough or multi-six-figure or seven-figure breakthrough, you are so desiring it. But your external reality, the physical reality, is not showing that to you. Every time you're so close to achieving something, you find yourself falling back or unable to break through. Why? Simply because you have one of these three operating systems, emotional, intellectual, or consciousness. I would likely bet on consciousness OS, where there's an identity that is stopping you from breaking through. Why? Because of the minute we are so close to that outcome, our physical body starts to resist because there's a trigger. If I'm going to become this new person or new identity, for example, if you are looking to achieve a seven-figure business, it is going to be an identity, I am a millionaire. Now that may have a huge set of subordinate programs and thoughts and beliefs associated with it, that your nervous system, your physical operating system, starts to freak out. Your nervous system gets imbalanced. It starts to be in hyperdrive. That's your physical operating system saying, oh, danger, 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 don't go there, don't go there. You see, it's not conscious. Again, this is not conscious. This is all subconscious. It's all happening within your inner operating system, which governs 93% of what you're looking in your reality. Okay. So if you do not feel safe, as much as you want the promotion, as much as you want the outcomes and the results and the success that you're desiring for, if your nervous system does not feel safe with that change or growth, we are not going to get the results. You will not get the results. Okay. So it's so important for you to make sure that it is not simply reprogramming your mind. Okay. It's not just fixing something in your physical brain. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about you taking a holistic, complete approach to finding where is that root cause that is sabotaging your ability to break through as much as you desire it consciously. Where in your inner operating system is that block? Is it emotional? Is it consciousness? Is it intellectual? Is it physical? It could be any one of these and does not mean it's only one of those. Okay. The idea is for you to find where is this block in this operating system model and be able to shift that, because you need to teach your physical body, your nervous system, and your emotional operating system, and your intellectual operating system, and your identity, that your new identity is actually going to serve you and not harm you. Okay, so this is why it's so important. So nervous system is the physical body operating system aspect. So is endocrine system, right? The endocrine system is all the glands, and I'm touching my neck right now because a lot of times I work with clients who absolutely want to express themselves at workplace but are unable to speak out loud their thoughts. And that's because their endocrine system, which is the thyroid area, right? The speaking comes from your throat center. And energetically, your throat center energetically is connected to your endocrine system, which is your thyroid gland. And this is so important for us to understand how interconnected our energetic consciousness operating system. Consciousness operating system is not only identity, it's also the energetic aspect of you and how that impacts your physical operating system, which is your body. Because they're very interconnected. They're all interconnected. Although I'm talking about them as four pillars, you touch any one of them and you'll end up moving stuff around with these different operating systems to have the result that you're looking for. Okay. So anytime we suppress or repress our emotions specific to where the glands are, for example, the vocal cords or vocal expression, then you end up having a physical imbalance in the body. Okay, so all these four operating systems are connected, and while you can start with one of the operating systems as an entry point, until you are able to kind of move through all four aspects of your operating system, the four pillars of your operating system, the change does not stick. So if you're one of those people that have done all these other work of taking external actions or even internally going through reprogramming process in other ways and means, please know the reason why it may not have stuck is because you probably addressed it on maybe the intellectual level, or maybe addressed it only on the emotional level, but haven't quite followed through to the other three operating systems that also need to come in and play the role, so that holistically you're shifting this identity, this energy of who you are as a leader. Okay, I hope that helped you. Now, having explained the concepts of the four pillars, I want to take an example, a real life example of working with one of my clients and share how this may look in real life. Right? So one of my clients came to me with difficulty handling certain people at workplace. And she found it hard to deal with their personality, and she rarely stood her ground despite her ideas being amazing. Okay, she knew her ideas were good. She knew she had something meaningful to offer. In fact, more impactful than what these other people in the team were offering, but she was not able to express it. And she was part of an executive team. So what did we do? I worked with her and we ran this diagnostics. I call this the inner operating system diagnostics or assessment, and say, where is this problem? Where is this challenge sitting in her inner operating system? And here's what we found. Her intellectual OS was running an old program that was developed when she was a child because of cultural conditioning. It is wrong for a woman to speak up against a man. Would you believe that? We're in 2025. And this is what we found. And it didn't surprise me, but it certainly surprised her, because this is something she was watching growing up in her home environment, where she was seeing all her women elders being told not to speak up against a man, and she just absorbed it as part of her upbringing, that we had to, this was something when she saw when she was 4 years old. Okay, so this is the intellectual OS limiting belief. It is wrong for a woman to speak up against a man. Second, our consciousness operating system was running a deep-seated identity. I am the peacemaker. Now think about that. I am the peacemaker, which means her role, her identity was tied to making sure that there was no conflict, that there was always harmony, whether it's home or whether it's work. It was no surprise when we found this, that she was not willing to speak up and share her thoughts or her ideas, because one, it is wrong to speak up against a man, and number two, I'm the peacemaker. So if I'm going to say something and if it's going to create a conflict, that's not who I am. So might as well keep my mouth shut. You see where I'm going with this? And then the role of peacemaker came at a cost to her emotional operating system. Unexpressed, suppressed words stuck in her throat. She did not speak up. She learned to just keep quiet. And this was happening for years. And this external manifestation, look, I want to get promoted, but I can't seem to get through my promotion because I have great ideas, but I'm not able to speak out those loud in a meeting, Ajitha. This was her exact statement. So you dig deep and you find, oh my gosh, so there is an intellectual operating system program, and then there is a consciousness identity, I'm the peacekeeper, and her emotional OS is used to her suppressing her words and the things she wanted to express were all stuck in her throat. So here's what happened then. I asked her intuitively, do you happen to have any hormone challenges? Open question. And she said, how do you know? I have thyroid imbalance. And I said, I'm not surprised. Her physical operating system was reflecting the imbalance or stuck emotions of unexpressed words right in the throat area, because thyroid glands are sitting right next to your throat expression center energetically. And when you suppress words and you don't speak out what you want to share with others, it is blocking this whole system here. It is not allowing free flow of energy. The emotions are stuck here, and the flow of energy here is stuck. What is emotion? Energy in motion. And if you suppress emotion, you're suppressing the energy in motion. And when you suppress energy in motion, what you're essentially doing is, holding the life force that is flowing through you, you're holding that back. And that was what was manifesting for her. So think about this, right? As leaders, we at workplace or in our businesses, we struggle sometimes to express our ideas because we are afraid of being judged or being ridiculed or creating conflict. And we have been so far in all the leadership trainings and development work that I have seen. I'm also an instructor of leadership courses in with various organizations. And what I've seen is that most organizations are focusing on the skills of how to teach my people to talk, to communicate. We rarely talk about why are they not able to communicate. There's something deeper going on within the inner operating system that we rarely address in our leadership development programs. And that's why I feel this is such a critical aspect of leadership development that is not yet come to the forefront, that I feel it's time now, because once AI takes over all the doing, our leaders are going to have to embody the beingness to express authenticity, vulnerability, empathy, compassion, love. Love in the context of leadership is never spoken about. And I believe it's time we start talking about it. Anyways, you can tell I'm very passionate about this topic. Nevertheless, so think about it, right? The example that I gave you, it's not lack of skills. It's not that she didn't know, she didn't have ideas. It's not that her ideas weren't great. It's not that she didn't know her subject matter. It's not that she didn't know how to communicate in English. It's none of those things. It is simply lack of feeling safe. When it was time to express, she was not feeling safe. And her identity was at crossroads. Well, I'm the peacemaker, and if I speak up and I create a conflict, then I will become somebody else that who I am not. It is not enough to force and hustle your way through your physical operating system to take action, my friends. It is required, but it has to be accompanied by necessary shifts in your emotional, intellectual, and consciousness operating systems, because that's the real game changer. So in order for the reprogramming of your mind to really stick, you're going to have to look at it from all the different 4 pillars standpoint. Please let me know in the comments which operating system seems to be a challenge for you that you believe is preventing you from achieving the results that you're desiring. Or even as an alternative, what result are you desiring right now in your reality? Do you want to get promoted? Do you want to have more executive presence? Or do you want to have the next 100K year as a business person, or a $1 million result as a business entrepreneur? What is it? What is it that you feel as a leader is preventing the outcome that you're looking for? Or what is the outcome that you're looking for? So please make sure you drop a comment and let me know which operating system really called and spoke to you, okay? Now that you understand the 2 aspects of the mind and the 4 pillars relating to reprogramming your mind, we are going to look at the 4 different pathways to approach the reprogramming. So you're probably saying, look, Ajitha, I get all that you have explained, but how can I apply this to my situation? Okay, you're probably asking this question. The good news is that you can enter this process of reprogramming through any one of the operating systems, the pillars, okay? But ensure that regardless of which your entry point is, you follow through to see how it may show up in the other 3 operating systems as well, okay? Like I said, in my client's case, she came with an external reality challenge. She was unable to speak, right? Unable to speak up her ideas. And we started intuitively going towards her physical operating system because she was unable to express. We talked about thyroid. And then we also connected it to, we then uncovered the fact that she had an intellectual operating system program, that it is wrong for a woman to speak against a man, an identity of I'm a peacemaker, and how it manifested emotionally of suppressed emotions, of suppressed words that couldn't be expressed, right? So you could start from anywhere, but make sure you follow through to see where else is that impact in the 4 different operating systems. So here is an exercise to get you started on the reprogramming process. Number one, choose a challenge in your current reality, in your life, in your situation. Okay, choose a challenge in your current situation that you have been dealing with for a very long time, over and over again. Okay, it's like a pattern, it's like a loop. You can't seem to break through this loop. I want you to pick that. Okay, and then ask yourself these 4 questions. Okay, number one, what do I believe about this situation? First question, right? Number one, what do I believe about this situation? This is your intellectual operating system. We are checking for the thought form, the belief that you're holding in your operating system about this situation. Okay. Number two, I want you to close your eyes as you're doing this exercise. And if you're driving and you cannot close your eyes right now, I would suggest you pause the video, come back to this very point and restart it and go through the exercise. Number two, close your eyes and ask yourself, by tuning into your physical body, how do I feel about this situation? The key word being feel. This is your emotional operating system diagnostic question, okay? Number three, who am I assuming me to be that is creating this situation? This is your I am statement that is running in your operating system. Who am I assuming me to be that is creating this situation? Okay, this is consciousness operating system. And number four, I want you to close your eyes again and tune into your body and ask, where is this situation's energy in my body and what message does it have for me? Okay, this is your physical operating system. Now, here's the thing. You may not get responses to all the 4 questions, and that's perfectly okay. As long as you get an answer to any one of the 4 questions, that, my friend, is your entry point into this exercise. Okay. So start with any operating system that is dominantly present and giving message for you, and then move on through the rest as it may be applicable. Okay. So now that you have an entry point to an operating system that is loudly giving you a message that you're now ready to shift, I'm going to invite you to use my free Epic Leadership Operating System Toolkit to use the videos, the exercises in there to shift out of this pattern. Okay. And the link for this downloading this Epic Leadership Starter OS Starter Toolkit is in the description box. And if this video resonated for you, my friends, please like, hit subscribe, and share this video with anyone else that might actually benefit from learning about this multifaceted approach to reprogramming your mind for success.